Okay, it looks like I solved the problem of the fuel pump not priming in this Foxbody. At first I couldn't get the fuel pump to prime. I was grounding the connector on the EEC connector, which, just to be specific, is this top right connector on the EEC connection. If you ground this, then in theory the fuel pump should prime, assuming that all connections are in check. And you have power and there's no breakage along the connection. What happened was, when I finally found the power wire, or the source for the power for the EEC connection, which are these two wires here under the tape, I finally found them, hooked them up to the battery side of the starter solenoid, got excited. I was like, oh shit, this is it. Turned the key on, and I heard a loud pop, and I looked, and there was a freaking huge cloud of smoke coming from this area. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, what the fuck? So what happened was, the Fusible links worked like they were supposed to work. They probably sensed like a big load or a huge jump, and they popped. And then I still wasn't able to prime the pump or anything like that. But I wasn't sure if this was the fix or not. So I took a leap of faith, hoping that I didn't have a short. And I went out and I got two Fusible links. They're a little bit bigger than the other ones that were on there. I think these are 14 gauge, and the ones that were on there were like 18 and 20. I would have matched them up, but unfortunately the store did not have the same size, so I had to use whatever they had, or wait a week for some other part that I didn't know was going to work or not. To show you what happened to the original Fusible links, these are the original wires. Okay, they go after the large wires from the computer to the starter solenoid and act as fuses by the way of being smaller diameter wire, and they can't take the same amount of load that the big wires can. So as you can see, these things literally melted inside and the connection broke. So then there was definitely no power to the EEC. So as a result, what that I had to do was solder in the new Fusible link wires on each one from the computer. And it's pretty neat. If you go to the auto parts store, they come with your ring connections already in there. So all you have to do is solder one end and crimp the other end, and then you're able to put it on one of the terminals of the starter solenoid. So it's pretty cool that it comes with like everything you need except for the soldering gun and the solder. So once that's all set up, then what you're able to do is obviously drive the car, because now the fuel pump will work. But before you do that, you can always do the self-test, which is what I said. Ground that connection on the EEC, take a wire, put in there, and mount it like to your shock tower or some other ground, and ground it. When you do that, you should hear your fuel relay click, and you should hear your fuel pump operating, whining, whatever. Once you have that, then the car's one step ahead and ready to go, because you obviously need the fuel to feed in. My concern mainly was to get the fuel out of the car so I can drain the old gas and put in some fresh gas and try to dilute it down and get a nice base going. But I was still going to need that to run the car. So it's one step closer. I'm still getting there, but that was one thing I thought I really wasn't going to be able to figure out, but it looks like I did. So cheers.